Hello guys, and welcome back to this installment of Wally's Wrecking Good Parts. Alright, today I'm going to get going on this other door and try to get these skins replaced on it as I did the other door. If you didn't see my previous video, go ahead and check that one out, and you can get some entertainment out of that one with my struggles with that door. So hopefully I learned a little bit from that door and I can transfer that into this one and hopefully not paint myself into a corner again. All right, so this is the passenger door here, and this one has got some pretty extensive damage on it. You can see the dents and everything in it. A little bit of rust up here on the outer skin, of course. So the plan is do the same thing as the other door over there. I'm gonna go ahead and replace this lower section of the door. And on the inside of this door here, it's not as bad. Rust-wise, definitely not as bad as the other door for sure. A little bit more solid. Of course, you can see the rust embedded in there. And then you've got some kind of weird weld seam going on here. So who knows if this is an old repair or something. I have no idea. All that'll get completely cut out once I replace that lower section. I obviously have a big hole here where the rust was, right below the hinge pocket. Hinge pocket itself seems to be okay, but I'll know more once I get in there. And down here, it's not too bad either. All right, in my last video, I worked on this door here, and if you didn't watch that struggle, you can check that out. I definitely painted myself into a corner when I did this door. I replaced the inner part of it first, and then I did the outer part of it, and I should have done that in reverse order because I can't get inside this door to do hammer and dolly work to work this seam out. So I definitely had a struggle here. I was able to unpeel this door edge all the way around, and I was able to get underneath the skin here like this and get up under there with a dolly and then work the outside of it with a hammer. So I was able to get that done. So just being able to get in there, I did manage to get this weld seam much flatter. It looks a lot better. It still needs quite a bit of work. Now, one thing I'm still fighting with this door is I do have a concave issue here, so I'm not sure how I'm gonna fix that exactly. If you guys have any recommendations on that, I'd love to hear it. Otherwise, you know, as far as the curvature of the door, looks pretty good. I think I probably put a little bit too much heat in that other door back there, so, and that definitely caused a concave issue for me. So, but I'm gonna let that door just sit there, and I'm not gonna worry about it. I gotta walk away from it for a little bit, honestly. It's been a little frustrating. So I'm just gonna let that thing sit there and think about all the headaches that it's causing me, you know, because, you know, it's the door's fault, it's not my fault. Now, I'm not a professional at this, as I've stated before. You know, I'm just a goofball in my backyard messing around with this stuff. I'm trying to learn the sheet metal work. You know, I've stated before in some of my videos of watching Carter's Auto Restyling and all kinds of different guys that I like watching that really take the time and to finish out the metal work to try to avoid as much, you know, filler as possible. And it's kind of what I'm trying to learn. You know, I don't know. Maybe I don't have it in me. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just trying it. The firewall and doing the cab corners, all those turned out pretty darn good, and I'm pretty happy with them. So that gave me a lot of confidence. But man, these door skins are a whole different ballgame. I'm definitely learning that. All right, so what I'm going to do with this other door is I did make a bunch of measurements here. So I've got measurements from the body edge down here up to a seam up here on the body. So I've got a whole bunch of different measurements made. Same thing on the skin on the other side. So I think what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this skin off first. I'm going to cut this leading edge all the way around, get that ground off. And then once I have that ground off all the way around and I can get the skin to move and get it separated from the main body of the door, then I'll go ahead and I'll measure all this out and I'll cut this skin out and I'll retain the inner door part. I'll leave it alone and I'll get this outer door skin fitted in real nice. I'll get it tacked in place in a few places, and then I can go ahead and flip it back over again, and then I'll do the inside. That way I know my outer door skin is set. All right, I'm just gonna take my angle grinder here and I'm gonna slowly start grinding this seam until I see the separation. All right, so I got the door skin all separated, and then I just took off this inner flange just so it's not in my way. It had to go away anyway. And then you can see this is just kind of weird down here how they have this thing welded in right there. I don't know, like I said, I don't know if this is like a really old repair or what, but it's pretty butchered. So I can't imagine this door was sealing all that well. Definitely a considerable amount of rust on the inner skin there that I see. All right, so now I get to flip this door back over again. It's probably the 100th time today I'll flip this thing over, so. All right, we got the new skin here. So I may end up using this entire thing. The rust goes up pretty high. So if I use the whole thing, or basically most of it, I think what I'll do is I just need to mark the door right here, and I'm gonna have to cut this skin just a little further. All right, I got my door skins all ground up, good to go. Now, one thing I did see, I don't know if you guys have ever done this before, but it kind of made sense, I guess, but they said instead of making a perfectly straight cut across this thing, is to just angle it just slightly. That way it kind of offsets everything and it strengthens the panel. I don't know. There's a lot of beating and banging up here close to the top of this thing. A lot of heavy grinding marks up here. Again, like I said, when I stripped this door down, this whole bottom half was just nothing but solid Bondo. So I had to dig all of this garbage out of it to get it down to bare metal. So it took me a little bit. But. All right, so I scribed a line on this panel here, and I think I'm gonna do that staggered joint. And it's about an inch here, and then it's flush up here. I think I'll just give that a shot and see how that works, welding the thing together at a slight angle. It makes sense to me, so I don't know. So now I'm just gonna push this up against the door skin on the bottom, and then I'll just clamp it up here, and then I'll go ahead and I'll do my cut, and I'll make sure I'm doing a 45. All right, nothing else to do here but mess this panel up, so let's go for it. Let's see how bad it is, I guess. That's good, it came off easy, so. All right, looks like it did okay, so. There's the inside of the door. Inside of the door is definitely got a lot going on in there for sure. Yeah, this definitely looks like an old repair right here. I can definitely see that now, so they just welded right over it. It's crazy. There's the old window track. Definitely rustier than I thought it would be up here. This might be a little concerning up here. The hinge mount and everything looks okay. It doesn't look too bad. It's definitely pitted. This bottom edge right here is definitely a little bit chewed up. All right, that fits pretty good. I'll have to fine tune this gap, of course, all along here. Cutting it in at a 45. Definitely gave me some room to do that, which is good, which is what I wanted to do. All right, so now that I got this thing roughly in place here, what I'll do is I'll measure from down here, this edge up to there, because I've got this measurement marked out. It's 16 inches from the roll right here, up to this line, all the way across. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get this thing fit up off camera. I'll just knock it out real quick and be done with it. Plus it's almost lunchtime for me and I'm getting hungry. So it's already getting hot here in Phoenix. I think it's supposed to be mid-90s or something already today. So the heat's a coming, man. I gotta get going on this thing and stay consistent with it and get this thing somewhat knocked out and put together at least. If I can get the truck assembled to where it's, you know, I can roll it around and get everything fit and get the sheet metal fit, I'll be really happy. The doors have just been, man, the doors have just been a total mind F for me lately. So, again, inexperience. I just don't know, you know, I don't know what I don't know. So, but I'm trying to learn it. And I'm trying to really take my time, especially on this door. If I have to redo the other door, so be it. I'll do it. So, all right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna get this thing fit up, get it ground, and then probably get some lunch, and I'll come back later. couple of these panel clips on the ends real quick, and then I'm just going to double check my measurements. Okay, I'm good. All right, I'm just going to get this tacked together. I don't really trust these things too much. They don't really do a good job. At least these don't anyway. I can feel a little difference in the gap. So I got to be careful about that. But I'm going to go back through and work this seam anyway later. So I'm not worried about it at this moment. I just want to get it tacked in a couple spots. Okay, that feels good enough. All right, that's all it's going to need for now. So now I get to flip it back over again. So. All right, well, the door skin seems to be okay. Yeah, there is a big gap there, but that's where it was before. But I'm lined up here pretty good, so not worried about that. This one's the same thing over here as well. This inner door skin here is pretty rough and it's not in great shape, so it looks like it's going to be just fine. It's nice and straight. Now this is going to be a little bit more challenging for me. Just trying to figure out where to cut this out. I'm trying to stay away from the hinge pocket as much as I can, but unfortunately with this damage here, I'm not going to be able to avoid that. And then the other thing is too, is this has the recess in it from the factory around here, but these aftermarket ones do not have that. So you can see this one here, nice big recess, and then it's just flat on these. So I don't want to go halfway through it, otherwise it'll look stupid, so I can't do that. I don't know, I'm going to mark this thing out a little bit and see what I can come up with, and come up with the easiest way to basically cut out as much of that rust as I possibly can, but at the same time trying to retain those recesses so it all looks factory, and then it'll match the other door as well too, because I didn't mess with those on the other door. All right, so what I did was I just cut this off straight right here. Cut that off straight on this end, just did the same thing, went across here. Now I went up here, around here, then went down to this edge here and then down. So now the fun part, the headache is going to be separating the sheet metal from the hinge bracket. I got those drilled out as best I could. So the only thing that's going to hold this thing in place are these right here. So I got to be careful that I'm not messing with this thing and twisting it really bad and jacking around with it too much. So now I'm going to try to separate that sheet metal. That's I don't know, that's going to be fun. I'm just going to do it little by little, take my time, and try to be as careful as I possibly can. All right. Yeah, it's pretty crusty in there. Definitely getting thin. But you can see that weld where they welded that piece of metal on there. All right, now all I got to do is get this little piece of metal off of here, and then I can clean all this up. I'm too lazy to get the grinder. Come on. All right. Good grief. All right, I got that all separated. Man, I was expecting this stuff to be a lot thicker than it is. This is just nothing more than sheet metal. I'm really surprised by that. There's a lot of weight on these doors. I'm actually a little worried about these things not being strong enough, honestly. The other problem is there was a bolt broken off in here. Well, a little concerned about that hinge. I might need to replace that thing, honestly. I don't think I can get this bolt out. It's busted off. And I can see that it is cracked. It is cracked around there too. It is pretty pitted in here and pretty scaly. Yeah, I might need to order a new hinge brace here. All right, well, I tried to do the old weld the nut onto the bolt trick and all that stuff, and yeah, it's not moving. I think I'm gonna have to replace that hinge pocket. I'm starting to think I might just need to put doors on this truck. I don't know. There's a lot more rust inside the door, all the way up the skin, more than I thought there was. You know, at the very least, I need to replace this because this is really thin, and it's welding this thing, I'm just going to blow right through it. It is completely scaled out underneath and thin. There's no way I'm going to be able to weld to that thing. Underneath the door skin here, it is definitely pretty rough and rusted. All right, anyway, I'm going to think about this and figure out what I'm going to do. I'm going to order some more parts, but God, I was hoping to get more done on this video, but it is what it is, I guess, at this point. There's nothing I can really do about it. Need to replace that lower hinge brace and all that. I can't just let that go. I've got to replace that thing. It wouldn't be right, so to try to weld to that thing. So I'm going to talk to my sister-in-law and see what she wants to do. What do you guys think as far as running aftermarket doors? Yes, I would rather run the GM doors and all that, but by the time I start doing all this stuff, that rust has migrated up the door skin quite a bit, you know. I think it's solid enough that I can weld to it. I think it'd be okay, but I'm just worried that I'm just worried of future problems and trying to weld to it and get it all straight again, you know. So I'm already invested a lot of time and a lot of hours into these doors, and I'm not even close to being done with them. And how much more, you know, how much more do I want to go, basically? So, you know, because if I'm gonna have to replace that one door hinge support, I'm gonna have to do the other. I might as well just do the other door and fix the other door and redo, you know, fix my mistake on that one too. So I'm basically just gonna price all this stuff out and try to figure out kind of what, you know, what direction to go with this thing. But I know one of you guys have left a comment before, hey, you know, just get new doors. They're gonna say, you know, your time is valuable, and it is. You know, I'd like to just keep moving forward on this thing, but this thing just feels like it's just been kicking me in the butt, you know. I just feel like I'm going backwards. So, yeah, do you guys have any experience with aftermarket doors and how they fit? You know, as far as like the door gaps and all that, I feel confident that I can fix all that type of stuff. I just don't know if there's any major issues with the actual door itself and, you know, having to tweak it and whatnot, you know. So, and if you do run aftermarket doors, which ones are the best ones? I know there's a ton of them out there, it seems like. I don't know if they're all the same, or are they different, or is there ones that are better than the other? So anyway, yeah, let me know. Let me know what you think down below. Anyway, all right, guys, well, I appreciate you watching. Thanks for your time. Appreciate your patience more than anything. I'm trying to pump this stuff out. I'm trying to stay consistent with videos and whatnot. It's just been difficult. So, oh, let me show you one thing before I go. Any of you guys like old COE trucks? I'll do a little teaser here, but stay tuned for this project coming up too. So I'm not going to show too much of it, but it's a 1955 COE, and I picked this thing up in Peoria, Illinois. So stay tuned on a video coming up on that on picking this thing up. But for now, that's all I'll say. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one.